I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another Patreon review for Bra It's Stipe. Like I've said before, he gave a very generous pledge to my Patreon. So he's done a couple reviews for that. Thank you so much. If anyone's ever interested in joining my Patreon, the link is down below. Or if anyone's ever interested in a topic, movie request, review request, anything of that sort, PayPal request, the PayPal link's down below. Again, if you're interested. If not, no worries. The movie review for today is Three Teens. Now, Three Teens I have seen before and have always enjoyed ever since I saw it back in the day. I think I saw it back in the day. Might have been on VHS tape. Try to think if they had VHS tape in '99. They might not. Might have been an early like DVD watch or cable. I guess I can't remember when how I first saw this, but I know I saw this way back in the day. I always liked it because it had a pretty decent sense of humor. It was an interesting take on a war film. Had a really good cast. Went at a solid pace. Had some pretty decent direction and decent action set pieces by the director David O. Russell. This is the same guy who directed The Fighter, Silver Linings Playbook, among other films, I Heart Huckabees. I know this is a film that George Clooney, who stars in it, and the director, had a lot of friction on set. Apparently David O. Russell was not the nicest guy. He was a guy who was in over his head. Because you think of his other films, they were not a semi-bigger budgeted action flick. I think when you look at like The Fighter or Silver Linings Playbook, they're more dramatic fare. Or maybe lower budgeted movies. So, not having a lot of days to shoot it as well. Maybe the director was just high on his own supply, ego-wise, or easily frustrated. There was a point where apparently, allegedly, the director was doing something to a crew member and George Clooney came up and punched him in the face. Of course, they each have their different stories. The director says, no, I wasn't throwing the guy around. I was teaching them how to do this. And then George Clooney says another thing. I wasn't there, so I don't know. So the director, whether he's a nice guy or not, he did do a good job with the movie. There were some really interesting shots, for example, when a certain scene happens and you see George Clooney's face, but the sky's like moving really quick, but George Clooney's standing there. Or there's points where a bullet goes in and then you see the inside of a body, like not a CG, like a practical body. Like they're explaining, what were they explaining? They were explaining sepsis and bile and how to fill bacteria up in your body. Again, certain visual distinctive things made the movie stand out more. And granted, it's a war picture, but it's not so political that it takes you out of it. Like I said, it does have a fun sense of humor, and it has a good cast. George Clooney, I'm a fan of, whether it be Michael Clayton from Dusk Till Dawn, many others. I liked Money Monster, which I reviewed when that came out. a few years ago. Always been a George Clooney fan. And he did a really solid job here. Mark Wahlberg, I'm not big on Mark Wahlberg, but I can admit there's been quite a few films I've enjoyed of his, whether it be Pain and Gain, whether it be The Italian Job, or this movie, or another movie I'm going to review, Four Brothers, which that'll be coming up. Despite not loving him as an actor, because I don't know, just the way sometimes his demeanor, sometimes his vibe, I don't know what it is, just turns me off a little bit. And not, well, you could take that a different way. You mean want to turn you on? Yeah, well, meant that in a different way. I'm saying just not. He seems like a guy who would easily be a douche in real life. And for some reason I get that vibe. Maybe I'm wrong. Never met him. But with that said, I've enjoyed him in quite a few films. The Big Hit, which I reviewed on here with Lou Diamond Phillips. That's a fun action movie. Ice Cube, I like. Never really had a big problem with Ice Cube. He doesn't always pick the best projects, like Fist Fight. Are we there yet? Are we done yet? Are we fucked yet? Are we high yet? How many of them he did. But I like Anaconda. I like Friday. I like Next Friday. I like this movie. His Triple X sequel, not so much. But I don't mind Ice Cube. And I thought he did good in this. You also have Michael T. Williamson, who I remember from Forrest Gump. He was in The First Power. You have Jamie Kennedy, who I completely forgot was in this. One of the guys who's with the group, our lead characters, is Spike Jonze, which I didn't realize it was Spike Jonze. Spike Jonze is a guy who helped produce Jackass, the TV show and the movies, but he's also a director. He did Being John Malkovich, Where the Wild Things Are, adaptation, Her with Joaquin Phoenix, which I have not seen. So yeah, he's a director. Sort of an acclaimed director. So I did not even realize he was an actor. But yeah, he acted in this. He was the nerdy guy of... Really, it's about these four guys. Three of them find this map and someone's ass. George Clooney, he's getting ready to get out, probably retire. And he's like, what were we even here for? What did we even do here? He hears about this because he's supposed to show this female reporter around. And she's a firecracker. I liked her. Nora Dunn. Yeah, I liked her. I think she's from Saturday Night Live. Yeah, she was a bit of a firecracker. So pretty much George Clooney gets Jamie Kennedy to show her bullshit and keep her at bay, so to speak, keep her busy, while he goes to Mark Wahlberg, Ice Cube, and then Spike Jonze. Says, hey, I heard you found a map. I think I know what's going on. Something to do with gold. Saddam Hussein's gold. The four of us were going to go get it. And then they go get it. And then doing so, they find some people. They help them out. They do the right thing. And for most of them, things work out all right. But yeah, like I said, the sense of humor... I mean, the way it begins is soldiers, they see a guy in the distance, like, are we shooting? What? I said, are we shooting people or what? Wait, I think this guy has a weapon. And this can be surprisingly violent at times, which I forgot about. And had some fun songs. Like early on, you had the song, I just wanna celebrate another day of living. Later on, you have the Beach Boys. I turn around, I turn around. You even for briefly hear the Eddie Murphy song, party all the time, which again goes to a little bit of the sense of humor in this movie. Jamie Kennedy, I like Jamie Kennedy. He has a supporting role, but he's a guy who's wearing night vision in the tent. He's like, Mayday, Mayday, God damn it. There's a point where the four characters, they find a cow, and the cow accidentally hits a cluster bomb and blows up all over the fucking characters. That's what I mean. It's a bit of a crazy, unique, interesting flick. And even watching it again, it got some chuckles on me, whether it be when Nora Dunn's with Jamie Kennedy, and Jamie Kennedy's BSing her, and she sees like oil on these birds. He's like, I already did this fucking story. And then she starts crying, those poor fucking birds. And then it makes Jamie Kennedy cry, oh, those poor fucking birds. And you know what? The actors did well. George Clooney, he's a guy you buy, leading you into the situation you need to go. Ice Cube, you buy him as a guy who's a bit of a football fan. Gets a great moment where he throws a football with a bomb on it, blows up a fucking helicopter. All done practically, for real. Mark Wahlberg, he's not being super serious. He has a little bit of fun, which I think that's when Mark Wahlberg kind of works best. Whether it be in The Big Hit, a teeny bit in The Italian Job, Pain and Gain, this movie, where he's not being, I'm super serious, I'm Mr. Action Man. He's kind of like just loosening up a little bit, and sense of humor to his characters, a bit loose. And Mark Wahlberg's character has a wife and kid at home. There's an interesting bit where he gets captured and he's kind of bonding with the guy who's torturing him. They have some kind of interesting conversations with each other, which I'm not going to spoil for those who have not seen the film. And yeah, you say at the beginning these characters are selfish, they want to get gold, but at the end they try to do the right thing and save these people and get them to safety. The bad guys are willing to shoot a damn milk truck so that these people can't even get something as simple as milk. When the action scenes happen, I thought they were well done. Like I said, the scene with throwing the football and blowing up, the scene when they're trying to escape, and the Spike Jonze, the character, he's purposely built up as kind of an idiot character. He freaks out, accidentally drives to a damn minefield, fucks up the trucks. I thought the direction was well handled. I'm trying to think what I should give away. Because there may be quite a few people who've never seen this film. Because it's not a film that you hear a lot of people talk about. It's not a film a lot of people really mention nowadays. Which is kind of surprising, because Three Teens, I think, is definitely one of the better movies that came out in 1999. Which is a pretty interesting year. When you had The Matrix, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. You had The Blair Witch Project. You had The Sixth Sense. Stir of Echoes, which I really enjoyed. Of course, I love The Blair Witch Project. The Phantom Menace, I wouldn't say I hate it, especially compared to the stuff nowadays. The Matrix I love. I reviewed the Matrix films. Anyway, not that bad of a year for movies when you go back. I'll just say this. It's a war picture that doesn't dive tremendously into politics, so if you're worried about that, don't be. There's little mentions, but it's done, I thought, in a more creative, interesting way with certain conversations. It's more of a heist film where these guys want to get this goal, but then they do the right thing. So again, some fun sense of humor, like when George Clooney's giving this big speech, and all the people are with him, and all the people he's trying to save are with him, trying to get this guy to give him these cars. We're people, one nation. And even after that, he goes, "Can I give car?" And then George Clooney's like, "Okay, all right, I guess we'll buy them." And so, I mean, the street war sort of taking the piss out of most films. They build it up. He's like, "Okay, yeah." He's like, "No, I'm still going to sell these." "Okay, fine, we'll buy them." Like I said, I thought the script was a very well written script. And like I said, the directing styles, the way certain people get shot, some of the surprising violence at times, certain wounds that characters get throughout the film. Like I said, certain shots where like shows the inside of a body, getting sepsis, the bile. Really good cast, like I mentioned before. I mean, the leader of the guys they're trying to save, because they want to get them across this border, is, I believe, Cliff Curtis. And Cliff Curtis, I remember, he was in Live Free or Die Hard, and he was the main bad guy in Collateral Damage with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I think is a very underrated film. He was also in Deep Rising as one of the mercenaries. But yeah, he was the main bad guy in Collateral Damage. He was an FBI deputy director in Live Free or Die Hard. Pretty good character actor. Guy I really never minded. Again, the first time I saw him was Collateral Damage. And then it's, oh shit, yeah, he's in Deep Rising, he's in these other movies. So he was in this too. Well, maybe technically that's not the first one well, I'm trying to think of when. 3 Teens I didn't see in the theater, so I might have waited till it was out on DVD. And then that might have been a couple years afterwards. So, and Collateral Damage was around 2002 or so. So I still might have technically seen Collateral Damage. Like you guys give a shit. But 3 Teens, I think it's a very interesting film, well written. I think it's a bit smart of a film. Great cast, good heist. Doesn't devolve too much into political bullshit. In lesser hands, it would have cut to fucking generals and constant people in rooms pontificating about this, and this, and giving tons of exposition about warfare and the president, and they didn't do that, and they didn't want them to do that. Thankfully, it stuck its focus where it's supposed to be. That's why it made the film go by fairly quickly, along with the solid visual direction and the good cast and solid writing. Again, it got a couple chuckles out of me. It could be fairly funny at times. But anyway, that's my rambling thoughts on 3 Teens. If you've never seen it, I definitely recommend it. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.